Just never hesitate to ask questions and show interest in universities, even beyond your academic ability, as sports can really play a huge aspect in your application.
Hey, William, thanks so much for joining us. We're so excited that you are going to University of Nottingham in the UK. Finally, we got you there. It was a
Yeah.
great experience working with you, and we're so excited to talk to you a little bit about your experience and your journey to get to University of Nottingham. Obviously, it was a bit of an adventurous one.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much.
William, tell me a little bit about your US collegiate soccer process and the experience about it.
My initial goal was to go through the university application process through a sports scholarship, particularly with football. And there were many benefits to this, such as getting an early decision from universities, building an early reputation with the university sports coaches. And this will allow you to further excel in university sports and the programs within the university.
That's awesome. And obviously, due to some personal situations, you eventually ended up applying to the UK. Walk me through the difference between applying to the US versus the UK for you. How did you feel? How was that experience?
For me, through the change in looking at the US compared to the UK, I just ensured I did rigorous research on my top schools in the UK, particularly the ones that I found most suitable for me. And despite the huge change in the application process, it was very achievable. Um, and I was lucky enough to apply quite early. And this decision was made quite early into the university application process.
Fantastic. And what eventually led you to decide to go to University of Nottingham? It's a brilliant college.
I found that I had, in the UK, I had access to more academically stronger schools, particularly with the high school degree that I was taking, which is the IB, International Baccalaureate. And another huge factor for me was being close to family as well, which is a huge factor in this decision. And as well as this, there are many high standard and high level football academies in the UK, which are accepting a lot of football players as well. And these were just the few main factors which led to this drastic change from the US to the UK.
Great. You had planned a US summer trip. I think you had gone and visited some colleges before. Had you done that before for the US, or were you planning to do that?
That was honestly, that was my first time going to the US, and added sport really helped me plan the trip, and particularly with the universities that I wanted to go to, which were 5 different universities all over the northeast of the US. And despite it being a really tough journey and trip through all the camps, I definitely benefited from it.
Yeah, it was a very tough journey for you. I remember we had to plan it out. You traveled all over the place, 4 to 6 weeks of just absolute nightmare travel in America. It's not easy, but you conquered it. You had great feedback. Can you tell us a little bit about the valuableness and the impact of playing in camps in the US? Why was that so important for you, and what did you take away from that?
By participating in the camps, it allows you to really solidify and establish a relationship with the coaches of the universities that you want to go to. And as well as this, you get an insight of the ability of other players who want to join the same university as you. So it really helps scope like the ideal university for you in terms of where you want to go. And as well as this, obviously, you would like to see the university facilities and to have a look around and to really have a feel of the place and to see if you can actually go there and be super comfortable with it, and just in general being comfortable with your surroundings there.
Absolutely. And I guess the other thing, it allowed you to experience the level. And the level was something that was a big contrast from the play in the Philippines. Could you tell me little bit about the contrast between the athletic style and level in the US versus what you experience all day, every day in the Philippines?
The football in the US was definitely a lot, the style was a lot more different. compared to the Philippines. And I would say this because it was more physical. And because of this, I think I struggled with the first like couple camps, adjusting to the level of play. But then after that, I think um, I got really used to the level of the skill level of the players, and just I was just more comfortable, and I really adjusted to the skill level of other players.
That's awesome. Obviously, due to your personal situation, we had to pivot towards the UK. But I think you came really close to trying to apply there and getting some really interesting feedback from coaches. If you were to give some advice to upcoming Filipino soccer players, what would that advice be in terms of the recruiting process? When should they start? What should they do? How should they seek guidance from companies like Added Sport? What would that advice be?
I would say the advice is to really plan it out in the long term rather than the short term. And by really planning out your whole university process, you can really ensure that the university you go to is most suitable for you. And through rigorous research, you can really get a feel of these universities. And this is where you're going to be spending your undergraduate degree time and maybe postgraduate degree time, which is really essential um, through your for your education. And I would say reaching out to a company like Added Sports really helps you um, plan ahead of most other people. And as well as this, they can help establish relationship with universities um, more than you can without them, really. And they really aid you in the communication aspect with these universities and presenting yourself in the most promising and um, the best to your potential as well.
That's nice of you. Kind words there. So you were academically very strong, obviously ended up with a great IB score. Did you think that aided you in the student athlete route in the application process? Uh, were you someone who would give a lot of credit to the fact that you performed well during IB?
The academic background of a student is definitely the biggest factor for any universities, really. And they prioritize it over extracurriculars. But um, extracurriculars and sports, such as sports, they really play a big role, and they really strengthen people's applications as well.
I think you're so right. You know, your story has been very inspiring for a student athlete. You know, what advice and information would you give to your friends who are in grade 9, grade 10? What is that secret formula for your success? Was there a secret formula, or do you think that it really comes to perseverance, early start? Is there a secret formula for your success?
I can't exactly say that there's a secret formula, but one thing I can say is that, and this works for everyone, I think, is just to make sure everything done through the application process has been done to the best of your ability, to ensure that you get the best university possible, really. And as well as this, just never hesitate to ask questions and show interest in universities, even beyond your academic ability, as sports can really play a huge aspect in your application.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think many students in the Philippines don't realize the valuableness of student athlete route. And I think you're someone who really took advantage of it. And, you know, for whatever circumstance had to pivot, but you took advantage as much as possible. Would you like to do a shout out to some of the people who've helped you in the Philippines, maybe your coaches, your teachers? Would you like to do a shout out to some of them on this kind of, you know, conversation so that, you know, we can remember them and value them and thank them?
I would just like to thank my coaches, Mr. Dunstan and Mr. Keynes. They really helped me develop into the player that I am today, and PE staff and BSM as well. And just shout out to the BSM sports department for really like helping me develop into the sportsman I am today. And as well as them, shout out to Added Sports as well. Really helped me.
Awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. And I think your BSM teachers would be very proud that a student of your caliber has received such a high level of success. So what's next for you? Where do you go from here? What are you looking to study at University of Nottingham? What are you looking to do in the future?
In the University of Nottingham, I'm looking to study business management, which is a 3-year course there for undergraduates. And regarding football and sports, I'm definitely going to try and get into the university club sports, and particularly with football. They have 6 teams, and I'd be happy to play in the first team or second team, and potentially expand from university football as well, as in and around Nottingham are some really top leveled, high leveled football academies as well, which I would love to join.
That's great to hear, William. I'm so proud of you. We're so happy. Everything that you've achieved, everything that you've managed to do in such a short period of time is very remarkable. And I must say that one of the top student athletes that we have supported in the Philippines. So, cheers to your success, and we'll be following you closely as you go to college and beyond.
Hi, my name is William Winter. I'm from the British School Manila, and I'm going to the University of Nottingham. I'm dreaming big. Are you?